When it comes to fighting games, I enjoy a colorful cast of characters, but don't push diversity just for the sake of it. Make them cool, interesting, or badass. Hello, this is Vector Freeze, and today I want to discuss about a topic that's a little on the delicate side. But before I go on, I want to put this out there regarding this video. This video is not meant to enforce any ideas or any ideology upon you. This is not a propaganda video. I'm apolitical, which means I have no interest in it, so screw politics. Hell, I love boobies, butt, in all colors. No one's excluded. So taste the rainbow. And finally, regarding this video, this is to openly discuss cast members within fighting games. Okay, now back on topic. Whenever a new fighting game drops, what catches your attention? The character roster and the graphics, right? Of course, functionality and gameplay comes second. And yes, I know what you're thinking. I sound like a complete casual. Well, to be honest, I am. Look, if you want to get someone hooked onto fighting games, that's the number one thing most people look for. Take for example, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It has great combat mechanics and overall smooth gameplay. But it did horribly on release because the graphics were bland and lifeless. And the entire character roster was questionable. Very questionable. I was going to purchase the game, but looking at their cast, it wasn't so great. So I had to turn it down. So for me, what kind of characters I tend to go for? Well, let's split that. For the dudes, I pick anybody that's a grappler, wrestler, or a big bruiser. You know, like Juggernaut. As long as you look cool. Simple as that. Now, as for the ladies, it's almost the same thing. Either you look cool, badass, or fit my playstyle, I'll pick you. So, just want to put this part out there, that I love all shades of any complexion on a woman no matter what. However, everybody has a preference, right? For me personally, it has always been dark-skinned girls that catches my eye. Why? Well, because they're rare, and they typically stand out for me compared to most of the females. And I know that talking about ethnicity and race is a very touchy subject. If you look at the majority of fighting games, there's always a hint of that. A developer and artist will always use a reference to create a character. So, when it comes to fighting games, most of them are either European or Asian descent. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. They've been doing that for a long time. But my main issue here is that I see them a lot. I see them so much that it became common for me over the years. It becomes predictable. Whether she's a ninja, a wrestler, a wizard, or even a dominatrix, I just feel so jaded because of the outcome. And oh, as a reminder, this is not a race debate. No, just make something interesting, something unique. Sell me a product that I may enjoy. That's all I'm asking. There has been a couple of fighting games out there that do contain some dark-skinned honeys, such as Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, the list goes on. Even though I appreciate that developers are going out of their way to add variety, I have one major gripe with most of them that I had done in the past, and that is changing their skin tone. It still boggles my mind on why they even bothered to do this. You know the old saying, don't fix what isn't broken? Look, from a technological standpoint, I totally understand that dark-skinned characters are very taxing on game graphics and are more complex to adjust for developers. Making video games is not easy, that I get. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sometimes I feel like their publisher or studio interferes with the developer's work, especially if they try to market something to appeal for a wider audience. Example number 1. This character here is named Vanessa Lewis from the game Virtua Fighter, who debuted as a bold brown-skinned woman with an athletic physique, not muscular, athletic, and wearing simple fight gear attire. Then, in the sequel, look at this. What the hell just happened? Like, I don't even recognize her anymore. I thought she was a different character or an evil twin or something. Here's example number 2. The Dead or Alive series. This character right here, Lisa Hamilton. Beautiful, isn't she? And then in the 5th sequel, bam, they lighten her up out of nowhere. And you think I'm upset about this? The original creator on the series was more outraged. And he doesn't even work on the series no more. You can argue, but that's Japan. Their culture and traditions are very different. And yes, I do agree with you, their standards are different from ours. They prefer the lighter skin complexion, which is appealing to them. And I have nothing against that. I totally understand. It's cultural differences. But Japan is not the only one that's doing this. Here in the West, we got NetherRealm Studios, known for their Mortal Kombat series. In Mortal Kombat 3, we have Jade, known as the Green Ninja, who stood out from the rest of the girls. Then, in one of their installments, Mortal Kombat 9, we get this version of her. And I was like, why? What was the purpose of that? Why change her skin tone in the first place? It was lovely from the beginning. I know there's no clear answer, but still. And then I saw the light. I saw Nintendo? When the Nintendo Switch dropped, they released some spectacular games such as Zelda Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, ARMS, and a bunch of other Pokemon games that I have trouble keeping track of. When you have new games, you get new characters, right? Then I began to notice something a bit different about Nintendo lately. So I dug deeper and found out about this. These newly designed characters are like stylish, colorful, imaginative, and most of all, they stood out. Their overall design made them look so sassy. After observing Nintendo, I gotta admit, they're doing a damn good job with their characters. But this took me by surprise. And shockingly enough, they're getting some praises not only here in the West, but also back home. In my opinion, Nintendo took some risks on forging new characters with different skin complexions, and it rewarded them. And for that, you have to admire Nintendo for just experimenting, for bringing something new to the table. But then, something else followed suit. We got another fighting game called Tekken, published by Bandai-Namco, or Bamco for short. And when the 7th sequel dropped, then, all of a sudden, this lady came along. I'm like, hold on, wait up. Now, I'm not too keen on the idea of a gender swap. In my opinion, that's a bit lazy on the developer's part. But then, I looked closely. Her facial structure, that body, that skin tone, and that attitude. I'm like, wow, she looks pretty damn good. So good to the point that she looks pretty sexy. For a video game character, that is. I mean, who'd have thought that out of all video game companies, Bamco actually did their homework on constructing an actual black woman with genetic features. Though I'm not gonna lie, this character named Master Raven, she looks a lot better than the original Raven. I'm sorry for all the guys who love the original male Raven, but this chick seems a little better, and I hear that she's appearing in more professional tournaments. I gotta give props to Bamco for that. And then, from out of nowhere, we got Guilty Gear Zerd. And look at this, another dark-skinned character in a video game. That's amazing. Okay, yeah, sure, you can argue she looks a little tan, but let's not argue here. I'm just glad that they have something different. Anyways, now, I don't know what's going on here, but someone please tell me. Is there like a major trend going in Japan over there or what? Or is that one of the dudes back at the office had a taste on some of that? Yeah. Well, So here are my final thoughts about this whole thing. Yes, developers make mistakes, and I totally understand that they try to appeal to a mass market. But with the backlash here and there, I'm glad that the developers are stepping it up and changing the way things are. Like I said, don't fix what isn't broken. And I just want to say this about the ladies in fighting games. I'll pick any woman who is badass and can kick ass. But I always got love for my dark-skinned girls. There's just something about them. Now I wonder, what would they look like when wielding ancient weapons? I don't know, particularly some parts in Africa would be an ideal place. I mean, the game does take place in the late 1500s, right? I don't know, just giving out hints there, I'm just saying. Oh well, one can dream, just saying.